Hi, I'm Katie Siskind. I own Wisdom Within Counseling and Coaching, and you can book your free phone consultation for narcissistic and emotional trauma recovery skills at wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. And in this video, we're going to be talking about narcissistic abuse and narcissistic trauma in romantic relationships. So, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, your partner does not take responsibility when they've hurt your feelings. They're not apologizing. They're not taking ownership. Um, Unfortunately, this can lead you to have low self-esteem and low self-doubt because you're always wondering, did I do something wrong? What did I do to piss them off? What could I have done to make them so angry? A narcissist doesn't empathize with your emotional experience. So they're often minimizing your emotions, telling you that you shouldn't even be having those feelings, telling you that you're too crazy or too sensitive. And again, that leads you to feel self-doubt, low in self-esteem, high levels of anxiety. So when you're in a romantic relationship with someone who has narcissism, they're very manipulative. They always want you to need them. So they'll often gaslight you. If you tell them that they did something, like last night you were yelling at me and you called me this name and I really didn't like it and I don't want that to happen again, and you say that, a narcissist will tell you that it never happened, and they'll tell you that what you remember is actually incorrect and that the way they remember it is more correct. And that's one of my cats. And here she is. But a narcissist has a lot of difficulty in relationships because they use these power dynamics, and it makes you almost feel like you need the narcissist. A narcissist will guilt trip and blame shift. So if you're trying to tell them, hey, like I really want to work on the relationship, they'll tell you that you're the one with the problem, that you need to go to therapy, which and then they won't ever get therapy. So they don't think that they have anything to grow or do to change, or they don't need to grow. Also, narcissists are very self-centered. So they will make all conversations about them and their talents and brag about how much money they make and, what they have. And they're going to be constantly seeking external validation from you. And you may have found yourself in a relationship with a narcissist because you're highly empathetic, because you give compliments easily, because you see the good in others, because you're friendly, you have a big heart, you have a lot of love to give. And narcissists prey on people who are highly empathetic because they do need so much external validation. So oftentimes a narcissist will also react with defensiveness, will put you down, will, even tell you how much they resent you, and kind of have a mindset of contempt. And they do not like to be criticized. So if you try to share with a narcissist, like with a partner, like the ways in which you would love for them to grow with you, they may take that as criticism and then come back at you with a criticism because they don't like to have anyone tell them that they can improve. So it's really important that when you're in an intimate relationship with a narcissist, you recognize that you are experiencing emotional abuse and emotional violence. So emotional abuse is just as damaging as physical abuse. Even though you may be in a relationship where you've never been hit or you've never had a black eye, you still may experience post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms when you are experiencing daily emotional violence and emotional abuse. And emotional abuse is domestic violence. It makes you walk on eggshells, makes you feel like you're not good enough. Your self-worth continues to decrease the longer you stay with a narcissist. They may try to socially isolate you, tell you that you don't have to work and that you only need one car and that you should sell your car and depend on them. And they try to, make you have a joint bank account where maybe they only have access, or there's only one debit card and they have it. Or they try to disconnect you from your family or your friends or your support network slowly over time. So it's really important to start to gain education on relationship red flags and narcissistic abuse so that you can start to recognize if you are in this situation. And it can be really hard for someone who is in an emotionally abusive relationship to leave because there is almost like an addiction cycle. You're addicted to those good times, the hope of the good times, the dreams of a future together. But in reality, a narcissist is emotionally abusive. So they're never going to be able to regulate their emotions or stay calm. They will always default to anger, explosive anger, maybe even throwing things, fear-based tactics, manipulation to get you to stay in the relationship. And so it's not to say a narcissist can't change. They do need therapy to change and they have to want to change. But your body ends up having post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. So low self-worth, low self-esteem, stomach aches, headaches, digestive problems, sleeping too much or too little, maybe even friendship issues because the narcissist might be talking negatively in your ear, telling you how your friends are bad for you and you've severed those connections. You may also have a lot of self-critical talk from being with a narcissist because the narcissist is always criticizing you. So you may start to internalize and start to unfortunately believe that you aren't worthy of love and aren't worthy of respect. And what can make matters worse is when you're with a narcissistic romantic partner, you may have also had narcissistic parents who were emotionally invalidating, emotionally neglectful, emotionally abusive, and really hurtful. And so you may have grown up in an environment where being disrespected and being used as a dumping mat and someone else's emotional punching bag and having to be a caretaker for your parents as a young child and having to care for their emotions, and being like a parent to your, as a child to your parents who are emotionally immature, that these behaviors may be ingrained from a young age. You may have developed people-pleasing parts of yourself from a very young age to please your narcissistic parents. And so they may have, in a way, groomed you to be kind of prey to a narcissistic romantic partner. So in counseling and coaching, you can start to kind of bring awareness to these qualities of yourself, kind of shift out of survival mode, out of that fight, flight, freeze state, and shift into more of a calm, present, relaxed, confident sense of self. And you can start to really trust your intuition. You can start to learn and gain education about narcissistic abuse, and what types of boundaries you want to set with maybe your narcissistic parents who are still in your life, or if you have to co-parent, or you're separating, or selling a home, or living in the same home with a narcissist. As your relation, you kind of figure out what type of relationship you want to have with a romantic partner. You may need positive coping strategies and holistic ways to release those really intense emotions, because it's important to note that when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, whether a parent or a romantic partner, there is something called reactive trauma. So when a narcissist is yelling at you or belittling you or calling you mean names or being highly critical and defensive and not respecting your boundaries, you may naturally react back. You may yell back. And this is not healthy, but this is a trauma symptom. So you may have anger and rage and disappointment and grief and sadness and loss and all these really complex emotions that counseling and coaching can help you release and process, and start to react in healthier ways. So you're not as triggered when the narcissist, maybe that you're co-parenting with, says something. You don't have to be as triggered, and you can just start to let it slide off your back. And so at Wisdom Within Counseling and Coaching, we specialize in narcissistic abuse recovery, and emotional abuse recovery. And it's important to learn about it, to talk about it, to start to liberate yourself, to start to learn about different mind-body techniques like art, yoga, music therapy, and outdoor walking sessions that you can learn in counseling and coaching to calm yourself, to soothe yourself, to reconnect with this creative, confident, compassionate, clear thinking side of yourself that's been hidden away due to the narcissistic abuse you've endured. So if you want help from our team of narcissistic and trauma abuse specialists, we would love to help you thrive. And you can start to learn tools to attract healthier relationships and to spot relationship red flags sooner if you start to date again. You can book your free phone consultation to work with our team of narcissistic abuse trauma recovery specialists at wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. We have a U.S. phone number, so you can also give us a call at 860-451-9364. That's 860-451-9364. 9364. But the best way to get in contact with us is by booking a free phone consultation. Again, that's wisdomwithinct.com. And my team and I look forward to helping you thrive with confidence after narcissistic abuse.